Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Arguments are a big part of our lives. We have arguments with family, friends, and coworkers. We see and hear arguments every day in the news, on television, and on the internet. People are always trying to persuade us to believe something or to do something. They give reasons for their ideas. It is very important to understand arguments well. When you understand arguments, you can understand what people are saying and why. You can decide if their reasons are good or bad. Sometimes people make mistakes in their arguments. These mistakes are not about the facts. They are mistakes in the way people think or talk. These errors are called logical fallacies. A logical fallacy is a common error in reasoning. It makes an argument weak, even if the reasons sound good at first. People might not know they are using fallacies. Or, sometimes, people use fallacies on purpose to trick others into agreeing with them. Think about an argument like a bridge. The reasons are like the parts that hold the bridge up. The idea you want people to accept is like the other side of the river. A good argument builds a strong bridge from the reasons to the idea. A weak argument, one with a logical fallacy, has a weak bridge. It might look strong, but it cannot really hold weight. The reasons do not truly connect to the idea. This guide is here to help you learn about these logical fallacies. You will learn to identify these errors. This skill is very useful in everyday life. When you can spot a fallacy in someone's argument, you know that their argument is not strong. Their reasons do not truly prove their point. This means you do not have to accept their idea just because they said it. You can ask for better reasons or clearer thinking. This book will describe many different logical fallacies. You will learn what each one is. You will see examples of how they are used. Some examples will be simple to show the basic mistake. Other examples will show how fallacies appear in more complex situations, like in political speeches or important discussions. Learning about fallacies will help you improve your own thinking. You can check your own arguments to make sure they are strong and logical. You can also avoid being tricked by other people's weak arguments. Knowing about logical fallacies makes you a more careful listener and a more critical thinker. This ability is valuable in many situations where you need to understand information or make decisions based on what others tell you. This knowledge is a good skill to have. Spotting broken logic. Welcome to Chapter 2, Spotting Broken Logic. In the last chapter, we talked about why understanding arguments is useful. Now we will learn about arguments that have a problem with their basic structure or shape. These are called formal fallacies. They look like correct arguments, but their internal connection is flawed. This means the conclusion does not truly follow from the starting points. Even if the starting points are true, the logic is broken, so the conclusion is not proven. One common type is called affirming the consequent. This happens when someone states a rule. If it is raining, the street is wet. Then they see the second part is true. The street is wet. And they incorrectly conclude the first part must be true. Therefore, it must be raining. This logic is broken. Why? Because the street could be wet for many other reasons. Someone could be washing a car. A water pipe could have burst. Seeing a wet street doesn't guarantee rain. This fallacy wrongly assumes only one possible cause for an effect. Another type is denying the antecedent. This is when someone says a rule. If you eat too much, you will feel sick. Then they say the first part is not true. You did not eat too much. And they wrongly conclude the second part is not true. Therefore, you will not feel sick. But you could feel sick for many other reasons, like a cold, or maybe you ate something bad even if it wasn't too much. Not doing the first thing, eating too much, doesn't stop other things from causing the second thing, feeling sick. There is also the fallacy of exclusive premises. This happens in a simple three-part argument with two starting points and a conclusion. The fallacy occurs when both starting points are negative statements. For example, no cats are dogs. No dogs are birds. You cannot logically connect cats and birds using only these two negative statements. The argument, therefore, no cats are birds, seems correct, but the structure is faulty. The argument shape does not let you make a conclusion about the relationship between two things if your only information is what they are not in relation to a third thing. If both premises deny a relationship, you cannot conclude a positive or negative relationship between the two subjects. Spotting these broken shapes in arguments is important. They show that even if the starting ideas sound true, the final idea is not truly supported by the steps taken. Learning to see these faulty structures helps you evaluate arguments better. 3. Tricky words and meanings. Sometimes words can trick us in arguments. This is when the language itself is used in a wrong way to make a point seem stronger or different than it is. These are called informal linguistic fallacies. Let's look at some examples of how language can mislead. First, there is equivocation. This happens when someone uses a word that has more than one meaning. They use the word in one way at the start of the argument and then change its meaning later. For example, someone might say, "Eating healthy food is the right thing to do. People have a right to speak freely. Therefore, eating healthy food is a right." The word right changes meaning from correct or moral to a basic freedom. This trick makes the argument confusing. Next is ambiguity. This comes from unclear sentence structure or grammar. A sentence might be written or spoken in a way that it can be understood in two different ways. For instance, the farmer shot the deer in his pajamas.
Who was in the pajamas? The farmer or the deer? The sentence structure is unclear. In an argument, this lack of clarity can make a claim seem true when it relies on a mistaken understanding of the sentence. It causes confusion about the facts. Then there is accent. This is about how stressing different words in a sentence changes its meaning. The emphasis can put a different idea into the listener's mind. For example, the sentence, "We should not speak badly about our friends," can mean different things depending on which word is stressed. We should not speak badly, implying others might. We should not speak badly, implying other actions are okay. We should not speak badly about our friends, implying it's okay for others. The meaning changes just by sound, adding hidden implications without saying them directly. Two other fallacies use ideas about groups and parts. Composition is thinking that if every single part of something has a certain quality, then the whole thing must also have that quality. A simple example is, each part of this machine is light, so the whole machine is light. But when you put many light parts together, the total machine might be very heavy. The quality of the parts doesn't automatically transfer to the whole. Division is the opposite. It's thinking that if the whole group or thing has a certain quality, then every single part of it must have that quality too.
For example, this company is very important. So Jane Smith, who works for this company, is very important. But Jane Smith might work in the mailroom and not be important to the company's main work. The importance of the whole doesn't mean every part is important. Using these language tricks can make arguments seem true when the connection is not logical. They rely on misleading wording rather than clear facts or reasoning. Learning to spot these fallacies like equivocation, amphibole, accent, composition, and division helps you see how words can be used to hide problems in an argument. It helps you understand the real meaning and not be fooled by tricky language. Paying close attention to how words are used and how sentences are built is key to understanding arguments better. 4. What's left out? This chapter talks about mistakes in arguments where important information is left out. These are certain types of fallacies. One such mistake is the bogus dilemma. This happens when someone says there are only two possible choices, but in reality, more options exist. This makes the argument weak because it hides other possibilities. For example, someone might argue, "You are either with us or against us." This ignores the possibility that someone might agree with some parts of a plan but not all, or have a different idea completely. By presenting only two extremes, the argument limits fair discussion and omits other valid choices. Another tactic is the straw man fallacy. This is when someone takes their opponent's argument and changes it into something easier to attack. They create a straw man version of the idea, which is usually weaker or more extreme than the original.
Then they defeat this fake argument, making it seem like they have defeated the real one. For instance, if someone suggests relaxing a strict rule slightly, a straw man argument might say, they want to get rid of all rules and let everyone do anything. Attacking this extreme statement is simple, but it does not address the actual, less extreme suggestion. Next, we look at one-sided assessment. This fallacy happens when an argument only presents facts or reasons that support one side of an issue, ignoring anything that supports the other side. Someone might talk only about the benefits of a proposal, like how it will save money, while saying nothing about the costs or potential problems. Or they might only talk about the bad parts of an idea, ignoring any good points.
A fair argument needs to consider all relevant information, both positive and negative, to make a balanced judgment. Only showing one side omits crucial details. Finally, there is shifting the burden of proof. In most arguments, the person making a claim must provide evidence or reasons to support it. However, this fallacy occurs when someone makes a statement but then demands that others prove it wrong. For example, saying, "The new medicine does not work. Prove that it does." The person who claims it does not work should provide evidence for that claim, not ask others to disprove it. This improperly moves the responsibility for providing proof onto the wrong person, making the argument based on lack of proof against it rather than proof for it. These fallacies are common ways to make arguments seem stronger by leaving out important information or misrepresenting ideas. Recognizing them helps you see what might be missing from an argument. 5. Adding irrelevant things. This chapter is about arguments that use things that are not important. They try to win by adding facts or feelings that do not help us decide if the argument is true or false. These are called fallacies of relevance because the information is not relevant to the argument. One way people do this is by attacking the person, not their ideas. This is called an ad hominem attack. It means against the person. Imagine someone says, "We should build a new park in town because it will give children a safe place to play." Someone else says, "That person is a bad neighbor who never cuts their grass, so their idea about the park is wrong." This is wrong because the neighbor being good or bad or cutting their grass does not change if the park idea is good or bad. The attack on the person is not a reason to reject the idea. We should look at the idea itself and its benefits, like giving children a safe place to play. Sometimes people use feelings instead of reasons to support a claim. They try to make you feel sad or afraid so you agree with them without thinking about the facts. Using pity is one example, argumentum ad misericordiam. Maybe someone says, "You must give me money for this project. Think of the sad faces of the hungry children if you don't help. They will suffer greatly." This makes you feel pity, but it does not tell you if the project actually works
or if your money will truly help those children. Using fear is another emotional appeal, argumentum ad metum. Maybe someone says, "You must give me money for this project. Think of the sad faces of the hungry children if you don't help. They will suffer greatly." This makes you feel pity, but it does not tell you if the project actually works or if your money will truly help those children. Using fear is another emotional appeal, argumentum ad metum. Someone might say, "If we do not do this one thing right now, our enemies will become too strong, and terrible things will happen to everyone in our country." This makes you afraid, but fear is not evidence that the action is necessary or good. These feelings are not part of the reasons why an argument is right or wrong. A red herring means changing the subject completely to distract from the original argument. It is like pulling a smelly fish across a path to make tracking dogs follow a new smell. If someone cannot answer your argument about a problem, they might start talking about something else to change the focus. For example, you are arguing about why a company needs to improve its product quality. The company owner responds by saying, "Think about how many jobs this company provides for the community." The number of jobs is a different topic. It does not answer the question about product quality. They changed the topic to avoid your argument about quality problems. Argumentum ad populum. This means saying something is true or right because many people believe it, like it, or do it. It is an appeal to popular opinion. Someone might say, "Millions of people use this phone, so it must be the best phone." Or, "Everyone knows that idea is wrong, so you should too." But just because many people believe or do something does not make it correct or good. Many people believed the world was flat for a long time, but they were wrong. We need good reasons and evidence, not just popularity, to decide if something is true or right. These are some ways people add unimportant things to arguments. They try to distract you or use your feelings or what others think to make you agree. Seeing these tricks helps you focus on the real argument. 6. Wrong starting points. Sometimes arguments fail because they start from ideas that are not true or not proven. These are called fallacies of presumption because they presume or assume something without evidence. This chapter looks at a few of these common mistakes. One type is called begging the question, or petitio principii. This happens when someone uses the conclusion they want to prove as a reason for that conclusion. Imagine someone says, "Smoking cigarettes is bad for you because it harms your health." Here, "harms your health" is just another way of saying "is bad for you." The reason and the conclusion are the same. The argument doesn't really give a new reason. It just restates the idea in different words. It assumes the point it is trying to prove. Another fallacy is the slippery slope. This argument says that if we take one small step, it will surely lead to a series of bigger steps, ending in a bad result. For example, someone might argue, if we allow students to use cell phones during break time, soon they will want to use them in class. then during tests, and grades will get worse and worse. This argument assumes that the first small step, phones at break, must lead to the worst possible outcome, without showing why each step must follow the last. It's like saying stepping onto a small slope means you must slide all the way down a big mountain. Then there is post hoc ergo propter hoc. This Latin phrase means after this, therefore, because of this. This fallacy happens when someone assumes that because one event happened after another, the first event caused the second. For instance, after the new head teacher started, student behavior got worse. So the new head teacher caused the bad behavior. Maybe student behavior got worse for other reasons. The fact that one event followed another doesn't prove that the first event was the cause. Finally, we have hasty generalization, or secundum quid. This is when a person makes a broad statement or rule based on just a few examples or too little information. If you meet two people from a certain country who are very friendly, and you say, everyone from that country is friendly, that is a hasty generalization. You are making a rule about a whole group based on just two people. The evidence is not enough to support the big conclusion. These arguments start from weak assumptions and build on them. 7. Clever tricks in arguments. This chapter looks at some clever tricks people use in arguments. They try to win not with good reasons, but with smart language or by attacking the other person. One trick is called poisoning the well. This happens when you say bad things about a person before they even speak. The idea is to make people not trust them from the start. For example, someone might say, only someone who hates our country would suggest this idea. Then, if someone speaks for the idea, they look like they hate the country. This is not fair. You should listen to the idea, not the person who speaks it. Another trick is called tu quoque. This means you also in Latin. Someone uses this trick if you criticize them and they say, but you did it too. For example, if you tell someone they drive too fast, they might say, well, you sometimes drive fast too. This does not make their fast driving okay. It just means you both make the same mistake. It attacks the accuser, not the bad action. A different trick is the appeal to false authority. People use this when they say a famous or important person believes something, but the person is not really an expert on that topic. For example, a popular actor might say a certain health product is great, but the actor is good at acting, not health science. Being famous does not make you right about everything. This trick tries to make you agree because you respect the person, even if they know nothing about the subject. Finally, watch out for loaded words. These are words that have strong feelings with them. They are used to make you feel very good or very bad about something without good reasons. For example, calling a plan a brave step for the future or a crazy, risky idea uses loaded words. The words are chosen to make you like or dislike the plan right away, before you hear the facts. These words add emotion but not truth to an argument. Spotting these clever tricks helps you understand when someone is trying to fool you instead of using good reasons. 8. Winning your arguments. This book has taught you about different ways people try to win arguments. We learned about tricks with words, like when a word changes its meaning. We also saw how people leave out important information or add things that are not important at all. You now know about arguments that start with wrong ideas or use clever tricks to confuse you. Understanding these mistakes, these logical fallacies, gives you power. First, it helps you see when other people are not arguing in a clear or honest way. You can spot their weak points and not be fooled by them. This helps you defend yourself against bad arguments. Second, knowing about fallacies helps you make your own arguments better. You can avoid making these mistakes yourself. This makes your reasons stronger and clearer. But remember, the book also showed how some fallacies can be used on purpose to win. If you choose to use them carefully and know why they work. To get better at winning arguments, you need to practice. Listen carefully when people talk. Try to hear the reasons they give. Do their reasons really support what they are saying? Can you find any tricks or mistakes in their logic? Ask questions to understand their point better. Don't just listen to the words, listen to the ideas behind them. Also, think about your own arguments. Are you using good reasons? Or are you just using feelings or popular ideas? Try to build your arguments on facts and clear thinking. The more you practice spotting and avoiding fallacies, the better you will become at understanding and winning arguments in a fair way. Use what you have learned thoughtfully. Now that you know about these argument tricks, have you heard someone use one in a recent conversation?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.